Shalom, shalom, cosmic family. The cosmic magician is here today with a special treat. I put lots of time into this project, and this is only the first part. There will be 7 parts to complement the 7 days of creation. Now, this project is to show the significance of Kundalini Shakti, an energy which we all wield within us, okay? Now, I'm by no means an expert on Kundalini, but I am a lover of religious material, and I have done lots of studying, enough to feel confident in this project that I'm sharing with you all today. Okay? First, I want to say that this project, it initially started off as searching for ancient aliens. I had a dream where I was in a library and I seen a book, and it showed me the battling between Lord BLISS and Goku when Goku first became a god. And I seen the quote, and the stars of the heaven were shaken. This was at a time where I was looking for creative inspiration on what could I create, what kind of project I could create at the time. Now, I love to research ancient history, ancient civilizations. It's something that intrigues me. I love to know where I come from, and I love to know how the world has come today into the state that it is. And so I felt like Spirit was encouraging me to use what I know, use my knowledge, use all of the prophecy that comes to me in my dreams, and make a project out of it. Now, I don't only connect pieces through what I study, but I also, again, receive prophetic messages through my dreams. So sometimes I will receive, I will have a dream experience that will show me a certain location, and then a week later, I will read an article that will confirm this location, or it will be something like, I get a dream of this new Homo species and where they come from. And then a week later again, or a month later, I'm seeing this in an article, or I can find further leads to it. And so I'm very intuitive myself, beyond dreams and just research. Like, I'm able to connect the dots. I'm able to see what's going on here, what's going on there, and say, these two people look like they've shared a history, or that this was never like this at one point in time, and it could have been like this. So I'm already hip with the energy because it's something that takes up a lot of my time, okay? But I still encourage all of you to do your own inner research and try to take go ahead yourselves and try to give a go, right, at seeing what understanding manifests naturally for you when you're reading the Genesis story or the Enuma Elish or these religious creation myth stories, okay? So other than that, I just want to say that I am a dream practitioner. I practice awareness in my dreams. I'm also a consistent lucid dreamer. Okay, I've been pretty much paying attention to my dreams ever since I was small. So if you have a troubling dream, I can help you interpret it. Okay, don't be afraid to email me. And I'm also an astrologer. So I've been studying astrology for years as well, and I'm very hipped. So if you're just looking for someone to look into your birth chart so that you can know more about yourself, become aware of yourself, or even if you just want to know what's going on with the transits and how it's affecting your natal chart, I'm definitely the person that you want to come to, okay? Other than that, I am the co-owner of Sunchild Apothecary. It is my metaphysical shop where you can purchase services like my dream services and also my astrology services, as well as metaphysical tools for my crystal and witch kit lovers, all right? So there it is. We're all ready to start. Enjoy. Looking at the notorious book of Genesis, what is clear to me from the start is there is more than one Elohim. The 7 days of creation is portrayed as if it were all manifested by one Creator God. The truth is, many people lack understanding of the origins of the 7 days of creation. The 7 days of creation comes from the Sumerian tablets, which constitutes the Enuma Elish. In the Enuma Elish, there are several Elohim, which instead of days form generation through the 7 tablets, which is all about the formation of our solar system and the creation of humans. It isn't the only tale of its kind, as I have found in Japanese mythology. The Kamayo Nanayo are also representative of the 7-generation creation story. There is a reason why 7 is significant here. It is the seed of life, so wherever it goes, magic is certain to follow. Yahweh, or Marduk, tends to steal the limelight in the 7-generation debut and follows to become the chief deity in the Babylonian and Abrahamic era. Yahweh, or Marduk, is also known as Indra in Hinduism and Zeus to the Greeks, or Jupiter to the Romans. Since I will be mainly focusing on the story of Genesis, I will be using the title Yahweh for context purposes, but feel free to place hold with whatever title you like. Yahweh is the god of lightning, storms, thunder, and is often called upon to aid his followers in battle. Many would worship him for the growth of their crops, as he was an agricultural deity as well. This, of course, is not all Yahweh was known for, which you'll better understand in a minute. I don't exactly know where Yahweh gained such merit, but I don't believe it all lies in vanity. Here's why. Beyond Pluto, there is a zone called the Oort cloud, which contains colossal amounts of comets. Every so often, these comets transfer into the Kuiper belt just beyond Neptune's orbit, and when Neptune and Uranus form conjunctions, their gravity sends comets from this Kuiper region to the inner solar system, and Saturn and Jupiter, the 2 gas giants, have a role of either sending these comets back or granting them passage in based on their location from the comets. Now, Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system and has a greater chance of diverting these comets according to the law of physics than Saturn, stealing all of Saturn's praise. Is it responsible to say that the Sumerians were aware of all of this? Most likely not. But Marduk is described with having 4 eyes, different than all the other gods in the Enuma Elish, which I believe fit the description of Jupiter's 4 massive Galilean moons. Whether the Sumerians were aware of this or not, the truth is, again, I don't know. But compared to the other planetary candidates, Jupiter has definitely won my vote for chief of our solar system, or Lord, which Yahweh is first introduced as in Genesis. Yahweh is seen as the light to man, justice and salvation. Marduk has 50 names, one of them being Asar Uludu, a protective deity, the God that illuminates our path, I quote. The Israelites have a similar saying in Psalms 119:105, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." Asar Uludu is the wielder of the flaming sword, which Yahweh put at the east of the Garden of Eden to guard the way to the tree of life. Before we further dissect the hidden knowledge behind the Garden of Eden, let us familiarize ourselves with the 7 heavens. Since this concept was not covered in the Hebrew Bible until the Gnostics came around, let us look at an older representation of these 7 realms from the Hindu point of view. In Hinduism, there are 14 lokas, or worlds, 7 upper worlds, and 7 lower worlds, or hell realms. These worlds have nothing to do with physical locations that we can travel to. Rather, these are states of being that we either ascend in or descend in. How do I know this? Well, if we look at what we know about these lokas, it will quickly become evident. The 7 upper realms can be divided into 3 regions: upper, middle, and lower. The lower half constitutes Bu, or earth. Bhuvar, Swahar, which is where Yahweh, or more precisely in this case, Indra resides, and this world is called heaven, where all 33 main devas in the Hindu pantheon reside. As we move up into the higher worlds, there is not much literature to describe these worlds, so it's important that we draw conclusions from similar systems and see how well they fit. The two like systems I'll be referring is the chakra system and the 10 Sephiroth, which as well can be broken down into 7 divisions. Bu is our root chakra, and it defines our relationship with the dense or physical environment around us. This is Malkut, or the kingdom, located at the bottom of the Sephiroth. Next we have Bhuvar, which connects to our sacral chakra and connects us to the state of inspiration. This realm grants us a peek into what we define as heaven. When one is in a state of joy or inspiration, you feel awe that you can't share with another. It is only to be experienced. This world is likened to Yesod, which translates to the foundation, as I pre-mentioned, the foundation of heaven. Next we arrive at Swahar, which is associated with our solar plexus. The name for the solar plexus in Sanskrit is Manipura. It has no end because it is regenerative. It is a glorious state identified with will, action, and power. It is perpetual, ruling our digestive system. It is no wonder why the kingdom of heaven is said to be eternal. Swahar is Hod and Netzach, or glory and eternity, in the 10 Sephiroth. These 3 worlds constitutes the lower division of the upper realms, so let us now ascend to the middle level. Only one loka constitutes this level, and that is because it is the bridge between the upper and lower level. Simultaneously, it is all 7 lokas. The chakra of honor on this level is the heart chakra. It is where Atman, the self, merges with Brahman, the supreme reality. Through acceptance, surrender, and compassion, we find ourselves in what the Hindus call bhakti, which is a yogic path. In the 10 Sephiroth, this loka is associated with Tiferet, which is the center sphere in the Sephiroth, where all other spheres connect to. Tiferet in Hebrew means beauty, which sums up the coming together of all these beautiful energies. Continuing our ascension, we arrive at the upper level, first greeting Yanaloka. This loka is associated with our throat chakra. Our throat chakra is called Visita in Sanskrit. Visita is all about truth. We are granted insight by listening, not just with our ears, but with our hearts. Doing so, we become vessels for wisdom and understanding to manifest. We stand purely in truth as beings of light with higher messages to communicate with the world. In the 10 Sephiroth, Visita aligns with Hesed and Gevura, or mercy, receptivity, and justice, or truth. The next loka, Tapaloka, is associated with our third eye chakra, Anya. That's where we start to speak in terms of I sense, I know, and I foresee. Anya goes beyond ordinary perception, unlocking our psychic abilities. In the 10 Sephiroth, it is connected to Bina and Hokmah, or wisdom and understanding. Lastly, we arrive at the Holy Grail, Satyaloka, or Brahmaloka. It is associated with our crown chakra and needs no explaining because it is everything. In the 10 Sephiroth, it is Keter, meaning crown, where all energies are in a state of total bliss. Relevant to the Garden of Eden in the book of Genesis, we'll be focusing on the third level of heaven where Yahweh resides. There is a reason why 33 devas or gods reside here. The number wasn't chosen randomly. It was chosen to represent the 33 vertebrae in our spinal column when we are born. What is not made clear in Genesis is the location of Eden. Some believe Eden is located on earth, and some debate that Eden was in heaven, or some sort of in-between. The truth is, all three of these speculations are correct. Let's look into the etymology of the word Eden. According to the online etymology dictionary, Eden means delightful place. Its base, din, means well-watered. After all, we know Eden was a beautiful garden with trees of every kind pleasant to the sight as well as for food. No continent on earth contains every tree and every animal, so that's a hint that this must be some sort of in-between realm of heaven and earth, to say the least. Let's say Eden is located not on Bu, but Bhuvarloka, a place of pleasure and delight. This is where the story gets interesting. Yahweh told Adam if he were to eat from the tree of knowledge, he would surely die. Both Eve and Adam ate the fruit from the tree of knowledge, and their eyes were open. Their death was symbolic like that of Christ, which is why Yahweh died at 33 and was resurrected to then ascend into the kingdom of heaven. Let's get back on track though. Lucifer, or the serpent in the garden, is symbolic of the Kundalini Shakti that rises from the base of our spine to our pineal gland, or the fruit from the tree of knowledge, which awakens us to what is called Christ consciousness. Kundalini in Sanskrit means snake, or coiled, rooting from kundala. When the serpent energy awakens and rises up our spine, it is called Shakti, which translates to power. Shakti and Shiva are divine counterparts. Shiva is consciousness and Shakti is divine feminine energy. They rise up our spine together, which is where we get the symbol of the caduceus, the staff of the god Hermes, who in turn is Thoth, the keeper of all records and heavenly knowledge. Lucifer is the planet Venus, which is where his name is taken from, meaning morning star. He is in turn Inanna, the queen of heaven. Inanna is the goddess of sex, fertility, and power. This is where the story starts to make sense, because we know that Eden was a delightful garden, which Venus or Inanna is well associated with. Keeping in mind that Inanna is a goddess of sex, we know why Eve fell into temptation. Shakti is, as its name describes, powerful. The same energy that can intentionally be used to ascend us up into the heavens can also drive us to the lowest realms of hell, or the 7 underworlds, which will be part 2 to this video. That is the moral of the story of Adam and Eve, that heaven, earth, and hell all exist in the same place, and depending on how we choose to use Kundalini Shakti, we can either ascend or descend amongst the realms. Anyway, moving forward in Genesis, when Yahweh finds out what Adam and Eve has done, he says to Lucifer in Genesis 3:15, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed he shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. If we take a look at the Hebrew words for bruise and heel, everything I just explained about Kundalini Shakti is illuminated. The Hebrew word for bruise is shuf, which means to gape, open wide, snap at, or overwhelm. Now the Hebrew word for heel is akeb, which means heel, footprint, or hind part. In other words, you're behind. So to put things into context, Yahweh declares that there will be hostility, or in better words, rivalry, in the definite sense of pursuit between two parties towards a common goal in which all the generations of Eve will activate the head of the serpent, which stops at our pineal gland, and all the generations of Lucifer shall awaken at our spine, or our behind, our hind part. Now, of course there isn't any generations, because this is only a metaphysical story to convey Kundalini knowledge. So if you take out generations, you have yourself painted a beautiful picture. This brings us to the end of Eden, which ironically takes us back to the beginning. Remember, there was two trees in the center of Eden, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. In Genesis 3:22, Yahweh says, "Behold, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now lest he reach out his hand and also take from the tree of life and live forever." This is why Yahweh drove Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden, because if he were to also take from the tree of life, he would become immortal. Which I'm here to tell you guys, we did, because the tree of life and the tree of knowledge is connected. And remember, Yahweh only said Adam was not permitted to eat of the tree of knowledge, not the tree of life. If we take a look at Genesis 2:16 through 17, we'll see that. "And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, You may surely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die." There was never no mention that Adam was not to eat of the tree of life. This would automatically include the tree of life into the fruit that Adam was able to eat. Now, there is a constellation in the sky called Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is located at 15 degrees Sagittarius. Ophiuchus was placed in the sky by Zeus, or Yahweh, to honor the deeds of Asclepius, which was healing the sick, making man immortal, even rising them from the dead. Zeus became afraid that this would disturb the balance of gods and mortals, so he struck Asclepius with lightning and placed him in the sky as the constellation Ophiuchus to honor his good deeds. In honor of Asclepius, let me give a brief synopsis of his story. Asclepius is the son of Apollo and Coronis. He was raised by the centaur Chiron, later known as Sagittarius, who taught him the art of medicine. Later in the journeys of Asclepius, he encounters serpents, which in many different versions will teach him the art of immortality, or Kundalini Shakti. After this, he went on to become the best healer, healing the sick, making them immortal, and even resurrecting the dead. I believe this story portrays well that if we mix Kundalini knowledge, because in Greek mythology, serpents symbolize knowledge, with the physical action of medicine through our food and lifestyle choices, we can live a long life, which if you observe the yogis, you'll see that is quite common. Well folks, this wraps up the first part of Descended from a Serpent. Throughout this movie book series, I will do my best to share all that I can get my hands on about Kundalini in order to help you all awaken divine Shakti within. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Shalom and blessings.